and good evening and welcome to yet another Friday night in with York Gin. For those of you that can't remember who I am, I'm Susanna and this is Jo. Hi everyone.
Hi, what do you mean? You can't remember who you are half the time.
It's true. It comes with age. Well, what a treat we have in store tonight. Tonight, it is our Father's Day and World Martini Day special. We have mixed the two together. We've mashed them up. And we're going to give you some questions. We're going to give you plenty of cocktails. And we're going to say some special thank yous to some special dads as well. Jo, do you not think we should start with a drink?
I think it's become a dry do already.
Already a dry do. I can't believe it.
Let's get some martinis rolling, shall we?
I think so. Well, I'm going to start with something a little bit different first. Now, I just want to say, Catherine, a G&T with a frozen slice of orange in Grey Lady, that is genius. That is a cracking idea. And hello to Sam Owen Smith. Are you our first time viewer, Sam Owen Smith? Have you been with us before? I don't know. Anyway, what we're going to start with first up is we're going to start with a Father's Day special. We're going to start with a Daddy Mule. Sounds weird. It's based on a Moscow Mule. Now, I don't have one of those incredible little sort of copper pot things that Moscow Mules come in. So I'm going to be using a Collins glass this evening. For the first time, I'm going to, and the last time, I think, this evening, I'm going to be using my cocktail shaker. I've already got some ice in there. We get our measure. We know there's only one side. There's only the big side. And I'm going to use classic London Dry today. That's our London Dry. And which side do we use? The big side.
The big side.
The big side. In it goes. There's going to be a double measure of classic London Dry. I'm then going to put a single measure, I can't believe I'm using the word single, of elderflower cordial. It's non-alcoholic. It's okay.
That'd be why.
There you go. So a little bit there of elderflower cordial in my pot it goes. And then I'm going to put a tiny bit of mint in there. Because I am
go for it. Ooh, nice one, Tony Roper. We like the sound of that.
What was that one? Read it out to me.
Some frozen berries in Tony Roper's frozen in his Roman fruits. Very
nice. So I'm going to put my lid on. If I could but find my lid. Oh, I don't know where my lid's gone. There it is. It's lurking down there. Okay, we've got cat issues tonight. The cat's already been in the ice, so I'm sorry about that already. I'm just going to give that a little shake up. I've got my Collins glass here. I'm going to put some more of the cat licked ice in there.
Nice. You'll be coughing up furballs later.
It's just as well he's my friend. So he'll be back with us shortly, I'm sure. Right, okay, so I'm going to pop that into there, into my Collins glass. So remember, that's gin and elderflower cordial and a little tiny bit of mint. I'm then going to top that with ginger beer. And I've got some beautiful Fever Tree ginger beer. So I'm going to pop that in there. Up to the top. And not for the last time this evening, I'm going to be using my stirrer. Just going to give that a little stir around. And I'm going to put in there another sprig of mint. There it is there, a little sprig of mint. And I'm also going to put, I've done some really thin sliced cucumber wheels as well. So I'm going to put a couple of cucumber wheels in that. Now, I have to say, that looks the business. Happy Father's Day.
It looks very nice indeed.
Oh,
very nice. Yes. Well, very nice. I'm kicking us off with our first martini of the evening.
Go.
I'm actually doing a bit of a hybrid because you can get a French rose martini or an English rose martini, and one of them uses apricot, and that's the English one. But I'm actually going to do the French one. So we have got. Where are we? We have got 2 shots of London Dry. So here's my London Dry.
Lovely.
And I have got 1 shot of dry vermouth. My martini there.
Oh, nice.
Indeed. And I have got, where are we? How much of this am I putting in? 1 shot of cherry brandy.
Nice.
Nom, nom, nom. I like a bit of cherry brandy. And just a dash of grenadine syrup on the top there. And a maraschino cherry to garnish. Now, obviously with a martini, you shake it in your shaker. You do not serve it on ice. We all know this, but I don't care. So watch me put ice in it because that's the way I roll. And I've got a very fancy glass now. I've got several different martini glasses to show you. So I thought we'll start with this one because it looks very nice. Cheers, my dear.
Cheers, my darling. What a beautiful glass. That looks absolutely lovely. Well, we're going to tell you. Oh, is it good?
It's very nice, but it's very strong. Dear Lord.
Nice. We're going to tell you all sorts of facts about martinis. We're going to be making a few different martinis, some classic ones, some unusual ones. But first of all, we're going to kick off with a few questions about Father's Day to get you in the mood. So I would like to know, for my first question, where was the first Father's Day celebrated? Where was it celebrated? Was it celebrated in the UK? Was it us? Are we the UK? Was it celebrated in the good old US of A, or was it celebrated in Germany? Which one? UK, USA, or Germany? Who started the first Father's Day? And there's a cracking story to go with this. As always, we love it when they do that. Okay, Jo, over to you, my darling.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Sharon Wilson. It is the bee's knees. It's yum. Laura, I'm sure we can get you those recipes. I'm sure that our lovely tech people will be able to copy and paste them for you if you want them later.
Are these the ones from today's
from the ticker? Yeah.
Oh well, they're all on our Facebook page.
Yes, you can get them later on the Facebook page.
They're all there. They're all there.
Now I'm a bit dubious about this next question because according to market research, one of these items is the preferred present for the dads. Yeah. Okay. So the question is, which of these three would most people be buying for the father? Is it tie, a pair of slips, or a nice bottle of gin? Now, one of those is the answer. We all know what it is. Right.
Well, there we go. All right then. Okay. So I've got the next question, and it's a numbers question. I like a number question. So, how many bottles of gin / ties / pairs of slippers would Russian father Fedor Vassiliev need, because he holds the world record for fathering the most number of children with one woman? Now this was back in 1782. I can't promise this is actually him, to be honest, but he doesn't look best chuffed. But what I would like to know is how many children did he father with his wife, with one woman? How many children? And it's a big old number, I have to tell you that.
I think he's got his shovel there so he can tunnel his way out, don't you?
Yeah, I have to say,
oh my God, that's just one too many kid. I'm off.
It was way too many for me, I tell you.
Way too many. Dear Lord, it makes your eyes water. Anyway, right, next question. Question 5. We're getting literary like we do. So which famous author said, when I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much he had learned in 7 years. Was it Mark Twain, F. Scott Fitzgerald, or Ernest Hemingway? Oh, it could have been us, because we've all been there, haven't we? When your teenager knows more than anyone else in the wide world.
Absolutely. All the guesses that are coming through for the children, most of them are way off the mark. Think more, Cheery Pool. Think more.
Shannon Baines isn't far off.
Isn't she? Oh, good, Shannon. And of course, what we've got to do is wish Shannon Baines a happy 18th birthday. That is my beautiful niece. She was 18 yesterday, and she can actually now.
Shannon!
Yeah, she can legally partake of some of her York gin.
I think this is your first drink.
Ever.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be right. Yeah, no, her first drink was yesterday. It was her birthday
Yesterday.
Well, I think she's actually partaking of a bit of Roman fruit there this evening. I think she might have a special engraved bottle as well.
Oh, tip-top. Right then.
Right, let's go all the way back. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go back to the answers for those little short questions there. Of course. Who invented Father's Day? Of course, it was the Americans. Most people got that right. It was actually a lady called Mrs. Sonora Smart Dodd, and her father had 6 children. He brought them up single-handedly. He was a war veteran, and she just thought he was, you know what? He is a great bloke. We should have a day to celebrate him and all the rest of the fathers that do a great job. Now, it didn't go well. So most people just laughed in her face. They thought it was completely ridiculous. They said, well, why not? Why not? Why don't we have I don't know, National Clean Your Desk Day or something like that? Because Father's Day is a completely ridiculous idea, and it just didn't catch on. Now, over the years, a few presidents thought, yeah, maybe we'll give it a go. But it wasn't until 1966 when President Lyndon Johnson, who I believe's middle name was Baines, was it not? Was it not Lyndon Baines Johnson? I think it was. Maybe her relative, some distant dark and distant past, who knows? Well, he signed a presidential proclamation, and that resulted in the declaration that the third Sunday of every June would be Father's Day, and it's going to be obviously this Sunday. But Richard Nixon was the guy that established it as a national holiday in America. So there you go. There you go. The Americans, they were all over. But the story doesn't end there. Now, you remember that I talked about Germany. Germany was one of your options. Well, here are some German chaps, and they are celebrating Father's Day German style. They call it Mannertag or Vatertag. Now, how they celebrate it is slightly different how most people celebrate Father's Day. What happens is groups of men get together. They get some sort of weird wagon or shopping trolley, as it looks like there, and they fill it with booze, and they pull the wagon into the woods. They then proceed to get completely trolleyed. See what I did there with the trolley?
Yeah, I see what you did there. They look like they've already had a few. Look at the size of them. That's a beer belly or two going around, isn't it?
I have to say, they've had many a manna tag there. So they basically get completely trolleyed. They eat loads and loads of food, and they go off to the woods and do sort of, I don't even know what they do, but the bears are running scared, I can tell you, that's for sure. Now, the police and the ambulance crews are on high alert because it is really the day when most accidents happen, when most drunk and disorderly arrests happen. I mean, please give them some slippers, a tie, or some gin, but, don't go off to the woods. Don't scare those bears,
Well, according to market research, it's a very quiet day in most people's homes because the most popular present is a tie. Can you imagine that? My dad wouldn't have thanked me for a tie.
No, mine
my
neither.
husband wouldn't have thanked Sam for a tie. I'm just telling you that for free.
No, definitely
absolutely not. Definitely more likely to want a York gin.
Definitely. No, yes. My dad wouldn't have thanked you for a tie either, Joe. So
indeed.
Especially not one of those novelty ones with like number one dad on or stuff like that.
God, no. Oh,
no, they wouldn't have gone for that. No.
So how many ties would this old bloke would have needed?
Well, interesting you should say that. So, okay, people, this guy unbelievably had, and it's a joke in itself, he had 69 children, and there he is with his 69 neckerchiefs there. Now, between 1725 and 1765, his wife had, and believe it, ladies, just think about this, she had 16 sets of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quads. Poor thing. Now, interestingly, at that time, 67 out of 69 actually survived infancy, but he wasn't done. He wasn't done because I don't know what happened to his first wife, but sadly, I think she probably was just knackered and gave up.
Yeah, exactly. She probably had quite enough.
I think so. He married again. What was he thinking? Well, I can tell you what he was thinking because he went on to have another 18 children, right, with his second wife. Now, that was 6 sets of twins, 2 sets of triplets. So that means he had 87 children in total.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you think he married her sister or something? Because there's it's not that usual to have so many multiple births, is it?
I know, that's true. And do you think faced with the prospect of taking on, we'll just say 67 out of 69, 67 children, that's a lot of children to take on. Anyway,
right.
What was he like? Tell us the answer to the more highbrow.
Right then. So the answer to this with the all-knowing teenager was actually a bloke called Samuel Langhorne Clemens, who you'll probably more likely know as Mark Twain. We've probably all read or seen films of Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn. His own father actually died at 11, so he wasn't there to annoy him too much. But he also wrote a lot of essays in his time. And once he got the most appalling cold and was asking everyone for suggestions for cold cures. So people were coming by and suggesting things. Plain gin was recommended, he said. So I took it. Then gin and molasses. I took that also. Then gin and onions. I added the onions and took all 3. Well, apparently the gin didn't cure his cold, but it gave him breath like a buzzard. So there we go.
Not surprised.
You can imagine, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
All those onions. I'm not big on an onion in my drinks, I've got to say. We'll get to that later.
I do quite like an onion in my drinks. You will find that out later. We'll talk about that later when we get to the whole martini.
The whole onion in my drinks thing.
Yes, the whole onion in my drink
I'm just
thing.
knocking on with this. It's really, I'm a bit more
I
ice
have
in,
to
actually.
say, this
Have a
Daddy
bit more
meal
ice in.
is yeah. You chuck some more ice and chuck some more gin in if you want as well. This is
No, I'm good.
lish.
I'm gonna have a cherry though.
Mm.
Oh my god, that's so nice.
Don't talk with your mouth full. Now, the next round, we're going to talk about fathers in film. Now, there are loads and loads and loads of fathers in Hollywood blockbusters and all sorts of films. So we thought we'd take a few of our favourites and see if you know anything about them. So here we go. Fathers in films, question 1. Who played Professor Henry Jones, the father of Indiana Jones in the Indiana Jones movies? Was it on the left?
What lovely gentlemen.
Oh, they are lovely gentlemen. On the left, you've got our favourite Tom Collins swigging actor. That is Robert De Niro. In the middle, you've got Sean Connery. And on the end there, you've got Spartacus himself. You've got Kirk Douglas. Now, one of those lovelies had the honour of playing Indiana Jones's dad. I wonder which one it was.
Yes, well, I know which one it was, and it wasn't my favourite indie film, if I'm honest, but I do like that franchise. Very good. Right, question 2. Going a bit more lowbrow now. We're heading over to Disney. Sorry, well, okay, middle brow then, maybe. What is the name of Simba's father in The Lion King? Was it Timon, Pumbaa, or Mufasa?
Oh, that's a cute. It's one actually. I love that film. I love the Lion King film. I haven't seen the live action one. I'm not sure about it, to be honest.
I don't fancy it. I've seen Aladdin live action, and I saw Beauty and the Beast. And do you know what? Nah, there's no. What's the point really? Because they've been done. Why redo a classic? I don't know why. The stage show is good though, wasn't it? Have you seen the stage show?
Oh yeah, when Will was little, I mean, it can't have been more than 5. Because we lived in London at the time, and I took him down on a Saturday, and we got one of the tickets, from the ticket booth, the half-price ticket booth. And she said, "You're in luck. We've got some aisle seats. Put your son on the aisle seat, and all the animals will come down."
Come right by. It's fantastic. I took Sam when he was about 4 or 5. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
And actually, as an added bonus, my friend was in it. But there you go. He was playing. I can't tell you which he was because it was one of those answers. He was playing one of those characters. But that was great. I love doing that when you know someone in it. It's quite exciting. Anyway,
it makes it more special, doesn't it? Right then.
Always. It is me. Now, no father would be complete without a brood. And this captain definitely had a brood. This
not
is
69 of them, though.
No, not 69 of them. There were quite a few of them, though. Now, this is Captain Von Trapp. Now, as we all know, in the film, The Sound of Music, he had loads of kids. But how many, without looking it up, how many did he have? Now, we're going to take the movie answer for this. I know a little bit about the real life Captain Von Trapp as well, so I will tell you a little bit about him and what happened there. But I'm talking about the movie. How many did this handsome cocktail swinging chap have in the film of The Sound of Music?
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh yeah, Helen Reynolds. I'm bagsing Alexander Skarsgård. I don't see why.
Is he one of the choice? Is he a father?
I don't know.
Would you like to be?
Who cares? we just want him in the show. Okay,
always.
We're going highbrow again now.
Go on then.
Played the father of 2, Atticus Finch, in the 1962 version of To Kill a Mockingbird. And you've probably all read that in your O levels or GCSEs, whichever you did, depending on how old you are. Who was it? Was it the gorgeous Gregory Peck?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Jimmy Stewart, or was it Gary Cooper Super Duper?
Good question.
Which one of those fabulous boys?
Great. Actually, any of them could, to be honest. They all look of an era, don't they? They've all got that little look about them.
Yeah.
Really nice. I'm already apologising for this next slide. Okay, right. Okay.
I think it's great.
I love it. There's a lot of fur going on. So, who played the father in Father of the Bride, the 1991 version? Look at him. My goodness me. Was it the very furry Tom Selleck? Was it the sort of original Rocky? Was it Sylvester Stallone? Or was it, of course, Steve Martin? I want to know who played the father in the Father of the Bride film in 1991. I'm just laughing at Tom Selleck. I love that. Go on.
I've got quite friendly with Sylvester Stallone's brother, you know, when I was a journalist.
Did you? Is he called Joe?
He was a recording artist. I can't remember. I was doing some features about him or something. We ended up hitting it off, and yes, good night. It was a nice bloke. Right, now, question 6. Can you name this United States TV series where Mike is a dad to many in this blended family? Was it Monday, Tuesday, Happy Days? Was it the Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch? Or was it Different Strokes? But I don't know how to sing that one. But I did watch it. But I can't remember the tune. So if anyone would like to sing me Different Strokes, do it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, question 7.
All right. So I would like to know, this is a really famous quote-ish. Who said, Luke, I am your father? Or he could have said it like this, Luke, I am your father. He could have had different inflections, but I think he sort of went, Luke, I am your father. There you go. Who said that? Which famous dad, perhaps not the greatest of role models, said this? Oh, you've got some handsome chaps next.
Apparently John Conroy's thinking about going for that furry look. Good luck with that. Your wife will kick you out, just saying. I know her. Right. Question 8. Right. Which iconic father, which of these action men is rumoured to become a father in his next big film? Oh, it's actually a bit of down gossip that we got from Will. So we did. See if you've heard of this already. I don't know. Was it James Bond? Was it Mission Impossible's Ethan Hunt? Or was it the Bourne Identity, etc., Jason Bourne? So, was it James Bond, Ethan Hunt, or Jason Bourne?
Well,
that brings us nicely to the end of this cocktail, which has literally disappeared. I don't know where it went, but it's gone.
The good news is it's time to make some more. Go on, eat the cherry, for goodness sake.
Very nice. It's really, really marinated. Yummy.
Well, the good news is it's time to make some more cocktails. Hooray! So I'm going to actually tell you a little bit about a martini. Now, Joe's going to give you the history a little bit later, but I'm going to tell you about classic martinis. Now, I've had these glasses in the fridge all day. They were beautifully cold about 20 minutes ago. I'm not so sure they're so cold now. They were gorgeous. So you need to put your cocktail glasses in the fridge. That's super important, all right? And I'll tell you why in a minute. A classic martini, and it's like all martinis, and it's all like all recipes. There are ways and ways and ways, but I've gone for the straight down the line classic. Now, the most important thing about a classic martini is it is stirred, not shaken. And there's a really, really, really good reason for that. It's because what they don't want is you to put lots and lots of ice and to shake the ice, and then the ice to go into your drink. So you've got sort of slivers of ice in your drink. They want you to basically have a load of neat alcohol. All right. So here we go. Now, ideally, you would have one of those lovely glass. No, they're called, I don't know what they're called.
I've got one of those.
Oh, yeah, of course you have. Of course you have. I think they're called stirring glasses. I don't have one. So I'm going to use very carefully the bottom of my cocktail shaker. Yeah, all right. Look at her. There she goes.
And then you do that.
Yeah, all right. No, you don't, because you don't want your ice in it. See, she thinks she knows, but she doesn't. No. Yeah. So I'm going to put some ice in there.
Yeah, you got to put your strainer on, but
yeah. So now,
well, you know me. I always blue peter them. They're mine already made before we start.
I always do mine because I like the excitement of it all going wrong. So I'm going to use 5 parts. 5. That's 2 doubles, and it goes.
Dear God. This looks like rocket fuel.
Yep. 2. So that 2 doubles, that makes 4, yeah? And then 1 single would make 5. There it goes. That's a lot of gin, everyone.
That is a bloody lot of gin.
Of course, we need our dry vermouth. Obviously, mine is anytime, any place, anywhere. But there you go. So we only need 1 of these.
I thought that was Slim Sea of bread. Was that not her in the balloon?
I thought that. Oh, was it? Or was it not the martini? I said a trade word. There we go. Right. Okay. So in there, that's all I've got. I've got gin and I've got dry vermouth. I'm going to give it literally the gentlest of stirs. Oh, look at this, pathetic, really, isn't it? Right, there you go. Gentlest of stirs. I've got one of the fancy strainers though, so on the top it goes, and then I've got my now no longer cold martini glass, and I'm going to.
I'm sure it's at least cool. Hello, Harriet Harker. Nice to see you.
Okay, so that gives you
Annie Harrison.
Clunk, clunk, clunk. Right now,
Conroy.
This is the important bit, guys. So the garnish determines what type of martini it is. So if it's a classic martini, as I've just made there, remember I've stirred it really beautifully, I would put either 3 olives, and it has to be 3. That would be classic. I could put a lemon twist, which has just dribbled on the tongue. So I could put my lemon twist. They are classic garnishes. If I wanted to be super fancy, I could put in some juice from the olives. I could put the olives in and some juice, and that would make it a dirty martini.
Oh, steady.
Oh, I know. If I wanted to make it a Gibson, now we talked about Gibsons a few weeks back, I would actually be using my double skin onions. Because if anybody remembers that far back, they were actually named after a guy called Gibson who used to draw cartoons, and he drew the Gibson girls, and they had
large boobies, lots of onions.
They had lots of onions. They had substantial assets. And so the bartender in his local bar made him a martini, but put these onions on a stick. So he said they represented the Gibson girls. So what do you think, guys? What shall I have? I think I'm going to use my lemon twist later, right? So I could either have olives, or I could have my onions. I think I will go with, I'm going to keep it clean, so I'm not going to go dirty because I don't want any olive juice in it, to be honest. But I am going to go with the classic 3 olives on a little stick. In it goes. And that is literally neat alcohol. And I'll tell you a little bit more about martinis as we go on.
Oh, well, Lucy Earnshaw was saying she actually went through the place where they made vermouth last summer. So that would have been exciting. I hope she stopped and bought a bottle.
Wow.
Yes, well, there you go. That'll take the enamel off your teeth. Right then.
That would take, Joe, that would take the hairs off Tom Selleck's chest, I tell you.
Right then, here we go. Well, I am going to make a French martini. Parce que je suis comme ça. Right we go. I know. On ne sait jamais ce que je vais dire, moi. So I am going to, well, you know me, I always Blue Peter, so it's already made up. But what it is, I have got 2 shots of York Gin Grey Lady, because I quite fancied the idea of the Grey Lady with raspberry. I thought that would be a really nice combo. So I've got my Grey Lady in there. So I've got 2 shots of that, and I have got 1 shot of raspberry liqueur. So my Chambord, that's gone in, and you top it up with pineapple juice to taste. As you might know if you've seen this before, I always like a longer drink rather than a short one, so I'm going to put quite a bit in there, and also to stop me from falling over, because martini night is like, woohoo, better watch it. And I am going to again break the martini rule, because I didn't do it over ice in my shaker. I am going to add ice to the drink in the glass, but you mustn't do that if you're being a proper martini purist. Do not.
Right, well, the good news is actually the martini rules. Cheers, my darling. The martini rules are that if you're using pure alcohol, just alcohol, so as I've done in my classic martini, I've just used gin with this 1 measure of vermouth. If you're doing that, you have to stir it. If you're adding juices and fruity stuff like Joe is, then you can shake it. That's okay. So it's only the pure alcohol. I didn't shake it. Also, I stirred it. I stirred it in my glass and then wanged in loads of ice. So I'm just a martini slut, really, aren't I? Okay. Just a martini one, Joe.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I have to tell you, it's really, really nice. And that,
I bet that's lovely.
That Grey Lady works really nice.
I'm actually slightly giving this one a wide berth because it's actually delicious, but it is lethal.
It's lethal.
I've got to sand my bathroom tomorrow, for God's sake. So anyway.
I think it's got its own theme tune. Da 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 da.
There you go. Let's go back to the beginning.
Answers.
Can you remember back that far? Okay, we were talking about Indiana Jones, and there was a good reason, because we wanted to know who played his dad, and of course it was the original James Bond. It was Sean Connery. Now he appeared in the 1989 film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which was the 3rd of the Indiana films. Harrison and Sean got on like a house on fire. They really, really, really liked each other, which is just as well, because actually Sean Connery, unbelievably, is only 12 years older than Harrison Ford. So he would have had to go some, you know, he would have been a very young starter to actually be Harrison Ford.
Probably like that bloke from wherever it was with his 69 kids. Started very, very early.
Started very, very, very young. Now, they got on really, really well together. In fact, Harrison Ford told Empire magazine, which in an interview, he said, it was just great. It was great. He was great to work with as an actor. He just didn't give a shit. Not about his craft. I mean, not about his craft. I mean about his ego. We just clicked. They had the best time together. Now, Harrison was all for Sean carrying on in the next film as well. Which is it the Crystal Skull, the next one or something?
Yeah,
like
Crystal Skull.
Yeah. But Harrison, Sean Connery said, you know, he was retired by then. He just thought it wasn't enough for him in it, to be honest. And he said, you know what? To come out of time,
there wasn't enough for any of us in it, if I'm absolutely honest.
And he was proved right, wasn't he? Because actually, it wasn't the strongest of the indie films, was it? No. Was it? No. Now, of course, some even the Martini. Some consider Sean to be the ultimate James Bond. But if you are Scottish, Mum, you will always know of him as Big Tam, the milkman from Edinburgh. He is, of course, not called Sean at all. His name is Thomas, which, of course, in Edinburgh was shortened to Tam, and he was a milkman. He was Big Tam, the milkman. So
that's amazing. I never knew that.
Big Tam, there you go. We salute you.
Is that an excuse for me to have another slurp? I think it should be. Alex Mather, I would like that on a T-shirt. We should get one each.
What does it say, darling? What is it? It's just. What
it says it says I'm a Martini slut. Right then.
Go on.
The answer was, of course, Mufasa. That's me trying to do a really nice, mellifluous voice. Because my word, doesn't this fabulous actor have a mellifluous voice? That's James Earl Jones. Is of course the voice of Mufasa there. Quite strange to imagine that this gentleman who has done so many voiceovers actually had to take acting lessons at the beginning to cure a speech impediment. Can you imagine that? And he's gone on to become one of the best known voices in the game. Yes, we remember those lovely heartwarming scenes where he's telling Simba all about the kings of the past who were there in the stars looking down. They're still there looking after you in the Pride Land. Marvellous. I bet they didn't have to wear a tie, just saying. Yeah. And yes, he was the first celebrity to appear on Sesame Street, which is quite fun.
Was he?
Yeah. Oh. And I've got a lovely little fact for you later that you don't know about yet, Susanna.
I can't wait.
As a surprise. But we do have a small little gin thing that we can connect to him, because we do try and make these things gin connected if we can. Yeah. The wonderful actor did actually star in a Broadway play, the Pulitzer-winning play, The Gin Game. So that's our excuse for having him in the show.
Excellent.
We salute you, James Earl Jones. Woo!
We indeed salute you, and we salute Captain Von Trapp as well.
Oh,
he had in the film, he had 7 little Von Trapps. All right. Now, Christopher Plummer, what a bloke, top bloke, Christopher Plummer. He hated the sound of music, right? Now, I'll tell you about the one on the right in a minute. I'll tell you about it now, and then we'll go back to Christopher Plummer. So the one on the right are the real Von Trapps, okay? Now, there is a little bit of, we're not quite sure what the truth is, but what we do know is after Maria and Captain Von Trapp, as he will forever be known,
how do you solve a problem like Maria?
There she goes, the voice of an angel.
Just thought you'd like that there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, anyway, once they got married, they had another 3 children. So that would bring it to 10. But if you Google it, sometimes they say 11. So I'm not quite sure where the other Von Trapp child comes from. But interestingly, in the film, they changed all the ages. They changed the sex of the children. So obviously it made a nice sort of, as you can see, they're in a beautiful line there.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to Christopher Plummer. I like him. He's a bit of a dude.
Oh, I like him.
So
he's gorgeous.
He was a bit of a hellraiser in his time. He was big mates with Richard Burton and Peter O'Toole, these massive hellraisers.
TikTok. God, wouldn't you like a night out with that lot?
Well, yeah. He loved a drink, but he hated the sound of music. He referred to it as S&M, right?
Oh, for goodness sake.
He did. He referred to Julie Andrews as Ms. Disney. He found her totally prissy and really stuck up. Now, this was made in his drinking days. He actually sort of gave up a bit drinking later on in his life, but this was right in the middle of his drinking days. And it is reported that when they do, you know, that scene, you know, I think it's Edelweiss, Edelweiss, you know, the festival scene when they, but just before they hike up the mountain, climb every mountain and all that business. Just before they do that, he was actually drunk. Okay, if you look at the film, you look at his eyes, you know he's drunk.
Yeah, you just think he's a bloody good actor and he's looking very, you know, I'm gonna miss my homeland, but actually he's pissed.
Yes, exactly. But Julie Andrews, not such an angel either. Now, rumour has it that when they were filming the Do Re Mi scene, that's hard to say, Do Re Mi scene, which goes on forever. Oh, dear, a female dear. I don't know why she's Scottish, but there you go. She was actually held in a field, and the farmer of this, the sort of person that owned this field, he had a barn, and in the barn he brewed schnapps. Now Julie nipped in and did a few shots while she was waiting for the filming to start, right? So by the time it came, that's why she looks quite sort of manic. It's because she's actually off her face.
Brilliant.
So my
face is almost 100% pure proof, isn't it?
I know. So of course my favourite, I like Baroness Schroeder, isn't it? Schroeder and Uncle Max. They're very cool. They've got the best kit. They've got plenty of
she's so snippy as well, isn't she?
Oh, she's got great lines, hasn't she?
Why didn't you tell me? I'd have brought my banjo. Oh, whatever it is. She's great.
That's all I've got to say about that. Go on, we could talk forever about
what I've got to say about that. Righty ho, we're on to question 4. And the answer is, of course, unless you've never seen it, Gregory Peck. You only know what you know, and it is actually Gregory Peck, who plays the wonderful father and lawyer Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. And this is set in 1930s Alabama, not a great place to be in terms of racial segregation at the time. He was there defending an innocent accused man. But so yeah, he taught his children to respect everyone, irrespective of their background or their colour, which is a good lesson. And so yeah, we salute you, Atticus Finch. Now actually I've got you know, as I was saying, we try to find a little bit of a gin detail with all our questions, so she's in there. Gregory Peck's biography, biography about him, not an autobiography, he's fondly known as Greg, and as a young struggling actor he used to live in this cheap boarding house where they used to have a poker game twice a week, and he would make himself some extra bucks by taking over the bathroom. What he would do is fill the bath with gin and mix it up with lemonade, and then sell this concoction for a nickel a glass. So yeah, he used to supplement his acting career with gin.
Yeah, really nice.
We like you, Gregory Peck. Hurrah!
Yes, we salute you with one of my 3 drinks. It's like,
yeah, well, I've only got one.
What's going on?
I've gone down. That's what's gone on. Whoops, Daisy.
I
haven't had anything much to eat today either. I'm going to be on the floor.
Oh, well, I had the good news is I had a good lunch because I know how tricky it is.
Oh, no, well, me and the kids are doing this thing called the CERT diet, which what's her name did? Oh, I can't remember what she's called. That amazing singer. She did one of the Bond songs. Adele did it and lost stones, so we thought, we'll try that.
Give it a whirl.
I'm sure that Martini's not in the inclusion, but anyway. So yeah, we've not been eating today. Anyway, over to you. Sorry, I'll stop wittering. Question 5.
Don't you worry. I've eaten plenty, so I think I'm actually full to here. Is the truth, but I'm going to manfully work through my drinks. Don't you worry, because I've got at least one more to go. Is that a cat? Hang on. The cats were all over the place today. Right. Okay. Steve Martin was George Banks. He was the father in Father of the Bride, the 1991 remake of the 1950 film starring Spencer Tracy and Elizabeth Taylor. Now, he had the perfect life, the perfect wife, the perfect daughter and a son, and he just didn't want to let go of his little girl. Just like my dad, eh, Mum? But there you go. So it was a remake. So sorry about that. Couldn't resist it. Now, things have come full circle for Steve because, unbelievably, he became a father at the age of 67.
Woo!
He's now 74. He's got a 7-year-old at the age of 74. Well, good luck, Steve. Good luck with that. Can you imagine that?
I'm sure he's got help, let's be honest.
I'm hoping he's got help. or probably a much younger second wife, I would have thought. But then
Yeah, well, quite.
That's a whole different category, isn't it?
Oh, I like this. Sarah Hampton's got a recipe for a tequila mockingbird.
Nice.
Liking
Is that from, actually, is it Sarah, did you say it was? Sarah, is that from that book, which I've got it as well, and I can't think what it's called. Oh, no,
it's called Tequila Mockingbird.
No. It's a book of cocktails that are all named after famous films. Is it from that book?
Yes,
I've got
it's called Tequila Mockingbird.
Yeah, all right. I'm not listening. Yes, from that book. Yes, I know. I'll just leave.
Yeah, bye. Go on, off you go. Go on, just take yourself away. We're going to talk about the Brady Bunch. Come on, you need to sing. Where's she gone?
Here's the story of a guy named Brady who was busy with 3 boys of his own. They were 4 men, living all together, yet they were all alone. Till the one day when the lady met this fellow, and they knew that it was much more than a hunch, that this group should somehow form a family. That's the way they all became the Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch.
There you go. Yes, carry on.
Of course, the Brady Bunch.
Enough. Carry on.
Indeed. Well, this sitcom went on for 5 series. It started out in 1969, but didn't do that well, to be fair. It actually didn't take us all by storm until it stopped, and was then syndicated worldwide. Well, we all know about the Brady Bunch now, don't we? It's become a bit of a thing. So yeah, there was Mike with his 3 sons, Carol with her 3 daughters, the housekeeper Alice, thank God, I'm sure they needed her, and the dog called Tiger. Well, Tiger, I've got to tell you, a bit of a sad story about poor old Tiger. He didn't last very long. The first Tiger was involved in an accident quite early on, and the trainer had to go and find another one that looked like Tiger pretty damn quick. So second dog turns up, is an absolutely pants actor, so they have to get him out of the series quite quickly. Yes, indeed. And it turns out that Mike Brady, who was played by Robert Reed, not Reedman, I hope you realise, was a bit of a diva. And he liked to drink, so he was difficult to handle, and if he didn't like something in his script, he just wouldn't do it. And I've also got a lovely little fact here about the lady who plays Carol. Where has she gone? Her real name is Florence Henderson, who rocked up late for her audition for the Brady Bunch and couldn't find the makeup room. So she charges into the first one she can find, which is actually for Star Trek, because they shared a stage apparently at one point. So she rocks up. She's got William Shatner on one side and Leonard Nimoy on the other. And she's getting her face on, and they both completely ignored her, apparently. That's really mean. Shame on you, boys.
No, rude.
Rude. Star Trek boys, rude.
So rude. Right. Okay. Who said?
We're still in the stars.
Luke, I am your father. In fact, he didn't say that, but we'll give you, of course, Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker. Skywalker. I think that's what I'm drinking. Anakin Skywalker. So it is one of the most famous lines in film, but it's misquoted. He didn't actually say that. He actually said, "No, I am your father," because it was in answer to a question. But of course, that doesn't make such a good quote. So the people that sort of started quoting Luke, "I am your father," they were going, "You know what? It's okay. We'll take it." And they did. They're happy with it. That look, this is Stormtrooper gin. There is a London Dry there and a slow. And we were thinking that we'd like to try this, but B, what we'd like to do is what we do with our minis, what we suggest in the shop. When you come to the shop, we suggest that when you finish with your minis, so you know these little packs where they've got the little tiny ones in, is what you do is you wash them out.
Buy more.
You buy more, obviously, but you wash them out and you dry them till they're super duper dry, not just dry, super duper dry. You then fill one with salt and one with pepper. You pop the lids back on, and then you get a compass or something super duper sharp, and you just pop a couple of holes in the lids, and then you've got a gorgeous miniature salt and pepper. What do you think?
I think it's a fab idea. I really like that. I like
it. So just before you give the answer here, Joe.
Yeah.
There is a gratuitous picture in here just for me, because everybody that watches this
I know they actually the trunklets actually got a mention earlier from one of
Did
the ladies.
they? The trunklets
They did.
are back, everyone.
Was it you, Helen, who mentioned it? Helen Reynolds
Oh,
mentioned the trunklets. Well, here they are. Feast
here
your
they
eyes.
are.
It is because dun dun dun. Fathers in film, James Bond. Well, here he is, Daniel Craig, in his lovely little blue trunklets. Yeah, there's a rumour going around, we do not know if it is true or not, that James Bond is set to become a dad in his new movie, No Time to Die. Now, apparently, the market research, again, it's a bit like the people who did the tie, if you ask me. I think it sounds like a load of rubbish. They're apparently saying that the men aren't relating to Bond because they think he ought to grow up and take some responsibility. So they're thinking they might make Bond I know, quite. They're trying to make Bond a father. So that he can grow up and blah blah blah. Well, if you ask me, it's a load of rubbish. What do you switch on to Bond for? Men want to be like him. Women want to be with him. I'm not being funny, but you don't go on to Bond for a bit of realism, do you? If you do that, you watch the news. Just saying. So I think it's a load of crap. But who knows? Anyway,
just say it as you think.
Just say it as it is. Yeah. Anyway, right. Ooh. We're carrying on the Bond theme now with our next cocktail, aren't we, Susanna?
Oh, yes, I think you're going first, my darling.
I think it's moi. And I noticed that the lovely Helen Reynolds actually made one of these herself, a Vespa. Helen, we're making a Vespa just for you today. So, if you remember in the film Casino Royale, Bond is very, very specific about she's off. She's off. She can't be doing with me anymore. She's very specific to the bartender about what exactly he wants in this drink. So he says to the barman, it's as if he's making it up in the show. So he goes, 3 shots of gin, for which you will need your York Gin London Dry. 3 shots, please. 1 measure of vodka. Thank God I found one of these at the back of the fridge because I'm not much of a vodka person, but I must have picked it up on an aeroplane. Yeah. So 1 shot of vodka. Yeah, you know what it's like. Shove it in your bag. It's free. You might as well have it. And 1 shot of course, in the original Casino Royale, it would have been Kinner-Lillet, which no longer exists because they've now taken the quinine out of the Kinner-Lillet. It is now just Lillet, or Lillet Blanc, if you want to be precise. So your Lillet Blanc. Very, very cold. À servir frais. It tells you on the label. Do what it says. Nice and cold. So, yes, and you serve that with a lemon twist. And there it is. See, I've got another glass. I just want you to know, I've made an effort tonight for the martini night. I've got lots of different martini glasses, and here's another one.
Is that like an enormous glass, or did you just make a very small cocktail?
No, look, that's my head. It's not that enormous.
Oh, it's enormous. That's a big one.
Green. No, it's about as big as my head.
Is that the standard now for cocktails? Is it as big as your head? Is that the standard?
It's a half a span. All right. Look, that's my I'm doing a bit of a 60s thing tonight. Look, because a lot of the Bonds were very 96s. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, Siobhan Mann bought me that for my birthday. Thanks, Siobhan.
Oh, thanks, Siobhan. I haven't seen the Man Clan. Are they with us this evening? I haven't seen them.
So right. Served over, shaken in. No, shaken, not stirred. Yes. Bond, shaken, not stirred. He likes it shaken. So shaky, with a lemon twist.
All right.
I'm not being funny, but I've even made a lemon twist. How good am I?
Well, I've made one too because I'm about to do a Martinez, and we're going to hear a little bit more about the history of martinis in a minute. So I'm actually preempting what Joe's going to say. And then I'm going to tell you a few other martini facts as well. So we're going to start with my cocktail shaker, which I'm not going to shake because remember, this is a classic martini, so we're only going to stir it. I've already put some ice in there. I'm pretending it's a glass jar. I don't have one. And actually, interestingly, I am going to make an authentic Martinez, which used Old Tom gin. Is she wittering on?
Yeah, I'm just saying that's actually really nice.
No, right. So I'm going to use Old Tom gin because that's what they would have used in the original recipe. And of course, as always, it's a double. In it goes. There we go. That's my Old Tom. Now, it's going to use sweet vermouth.
Philip at the gymnasium says post-lockdown measures are going to be as big as my head. I like the sound of that. We're with you on that one.
Definitely. So I'm going to put. Oh, hang on a minute. What am I doing? Wrong side. Oh, I just can't do the small side. The small side doesn't work. Anyway, it's roughly about 3/4. So I'm going to pop that in there as well. And next one up is I'm going to put some cherry brandy in there as well. And I'm going to just, do you know what? I'm just going to put a little dash. There you go. That'll do. That will do nicely. And a few little drops of Angostura bitters. I'm a big fan.
Oh, I love Angostura.
All over my tablecloth.
Deborah Swain, treat yourself to a Vesper. It's really lovely. Sorry to interrupt, my darling. I'm just saying, Deborah, you do go for it because they are yummy.
So remember what we're going to do is we're going to stir it very beautifully. All right. Now, again, this was a beautifully chilled glass some hours back, but it's no longer chilled. But I am going to serve it strained because it's been...
Lauren Ingham, you're right. There is only one side. But occasionally, Susanna does be sensible. Do you know, if she'd done the other side for all of it, they would have poured over the top of the glass. I can't believe it.
And here's a beautiful lemon twist that I made earlier. There it is. And I'm going to pop that in the top. Of course, there is your Martinez. So,
cheers, babe.
Oh,
the first time we've been quiet in an hour.
This actually has hints of one of my other favourite drinks.
I think I know what that is. You might be getting one later if you're a lucky woman.
If I'm very lucky. Now, just a couple of little facts about martinis before Joe goes on to tell you about the history. I'm just going to wash my hands because they're now all sticky. So look, there you go. We're in the water. There we go. The cat will be here any minute. I know, the cat will be here any second. So interestingly, if you ask in a bar for a dry martini, would you think, Joe, it's a question for you, do you think that has less dry vermouth or more dry vermouth?
A dry martini?
Yeah.
I imagine that means more gin.
It does. It means less vermouth. So basically, a dry martini would only have, normally we'd put 5 to 1. A dry martini would probably have 5.5 to half. To get this one, an extra dry martini would just have the teeniest little drop of dry vermouth. But Joe, you and I know about something even better than that. Tell us about Churchill.
I was going to say that sounds very similar to a Churchill, where he pours in as much gin as he fancies on that particular drink, and then turns towards Italy, wherever it is, and goes, "Buongiorno, Italia. Thank you for your vermouth, mi grazie." But doesn't put any in. So it's basically neat gin.
It's just a big glass of neat gin. So that is a Churchill martini. And a perfect martini, just to finish off our martini, a perfect martini is a big double measure of gin, or maybe a bit more than that, but 2 to half dry vermouth and half sweet vermouth. So that's going to look like that. So that's going to look quite pink.
Actually, that sounds very nice. I've never tried one of those. That sounds very nice.
Martini. And a reverse martini would be 2 to 1, but the other way round. So you've got less gin and more dry vermouth. Who knew?
I think I'd probably prefer the gin heavy side.
This is lovely. Tell us about martinis and the history, darling.
So yes, martini. It's a little bit like Old Tom. I don't know if you've ever tuned in before, but we've talked about Old Tom and the history and how everyone's laying claim to the origins of Old Tom, and basically they're all wildly apocryphal, and 1 or 2 might be true. Well, same thing for martinis, because they're so famous, they're so iconic. But what we do know is that they do go back to the middle of the 19th century, probably in America. There is one claim to fame, that is the barman Jerry Thomas from the Occidental Hotel in San Francisco. Now, he wrote a barman's manual in 1887, which talked all about his martini, and it was a drink that he claimed to make for travellers on their way to the nearby city of Martinez. So it was the basic ingredients of a classic martini, noted down by him for people travelling to Martinez. Now, take yourself not that far away to the city of Martinez, and they are saying it was them that invented it. So they say they had this wonderful busy bar, very famous bar in the city, which used to serve Martinez specials. And one day, a prospector who had hit gold, had got lucky prospecting for gold, and was headed to the bar to celebrate and wanted something really special. So they made him this amazing drink, and he took down the recipe and took it to San Francisco. So the martini was born in Martinez and taken on by the rest of the world. Now, but yeah, exactly. Both of them are claiming it was them that invented it, and both of them have taken the other to court. It's a very, very serious bone of contention, this martini. It's litigious. They're all going mad for it. Each city took the other one to court. I invented it, you invented it, we invented it, I invented it. So who knows? There is a third option, and that is the Knickerbocker Hotel in New York City, where Rockefeller used to frequent, and which Rockefeller frequented, and he liked a dry martini. They claim to have invented the dry martini. Okay. So, frankly, Susanna, nobody knows, nobody cares. What we do know is we have this fabulous thing called a martini, and I can't help it, but I'm gonna have to do some theme tune. Da 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 da. The world's most famous martini drinker. I'm not being funny. It has got to be James Bond. So we are now going to do a little round all about the marvellous, wonderful, fabulous James Bond. So over to you, my darling.
Lovely.
For James Bond 007, Licence to Swill.
But as ever, we're running over. Please stay with us if you can. I think we're going to be about...
sorry, it's me. I'm such a whisper. All right, darling. Can't help it. I'm a bit martini.
Okay, it's because you've had no lunch, Jo.
I know. Well, I'm doing a diet diet. I'm going to be like that pop star and lose.
You're going to be trolleyed, is what you're going to be, darling. So the good news is we're going to probably run over about 10 minutes. If you can stay with us, fabulous. We'd love you to stay. If you can't stay with us, get us on catch up tomorrow or whatever. But please stay with us because we've just got a fabulous round on James Bond. I've become like Trunklet. Just obsessed. I don't quite know why I'm so obsessed with these trunklets, but I clearly am. I think Daniel Craig is my favourite James Bond. Now, interesting fact, question 1. No. Daniel Craig is the only 007 to have had more martinis than on-screen kisses. Okay, but things got superheated in Spectre when he gets to snog 2 of his leading ladies, but which film board cut the length of his on-screen smackers to stop the audiences getting a bit hot under the collar? I'm having a hot flush just even thinking about it. Was it the board in Britain, the UK, us? Was it Russia? Or was it India? I don't know. Well, I do know actually, but which one was? I'm just trying to. I'm having a massive hot flush, and I'm just trying to cool myself at the thought of James Bond, Daniel Craig's trunklet.
It's trunkleting again.
I'm trunkleting. Yeah. I'm off on one. Right. Go on, over to you, my darling.
Question 2. When Bond wants to get romantic, he actually steers away from the martini and veers towards a lovely bottle of chilled champagne. Now, Bollinger and Dom Perignon have actually got a franchise contract thing going on with the Bond series of films. But Ian Fleming was actually like Susanna and I, and he preferred a different champagne. Do you know which champagne Ian Fleming liked? And I'm with you, Ian. I am with you, Ian. You might be sexist in this thing, but we like your choice of champagne.
Anybody with an eagle eye. I have done a little product placement for you in my kitchen. So this is Jo and mine. Is that a real grammatical thing? This is our favourite champagne. The fact that it's Ian Fleming's favourite champagne means nothing to us because it's ours. I've done a little product placement in my kitchen. If you can spot it, you will know the answer.
You will get the correct answer and you will win. Absolutely nothing at all.
Nothing.
Was it?
Because we will be drinking it.
Mais je vous propose, est-ce que c'est le tétanger?
Oui. Non.
Is it mum? Is it mum?
Tais-toi.
Is it keep mum or is it veuve clicquot?
Okay.
Question 3.
Oh, there's my product. I'm going to have to lean into my camera now to get rid of my product placement. Okay, the next question. How often do you see 007 taking a drink? It's mostly a gin martini. Is it? These are some right stato questions, these. Is it every 15 minutes and 15 seconds? Is it every 10 minutes and 53 seconds? Or is it every 17 minutes and 30 seconds? How often does he take a drink? That's a great question. He is my least favourite James Bond. He took the comedy side.
I love him.
I liked him at the time, but these days I don't like him.
Yeah, well, I think it's great. Well, Sam and I are going through them all, as I said, one by one. And do you know who our favourite is at the moment? It's actually on Your Majesty's Secret Service George Lazenby.
Never.
Yeah, we absolutely blooming love him. What a shame he did one.
But did you watch I know I'm digressing, folks. I'm so sorry. I'll be super quick. There was a really interesting documentary on George Lazenby. And actually, he was a really poor actor, and they had to do loads and loads of work with him to get him up to scratch for James Bond.
Whatever they did a bloody good job, because he was amazing. But he'd just been a model before, though, hadn't he? He'd done no acting, but he had the look. Well, I thought he did a great job.
Well, he would have looked great in the trunklets.
Well, he would have looked great in the trunklets. And I have to say, Andrea Hutchinson has got the correct answer. Well done.
Well, Andrea, that's really
right then.
Go on, next question, because we're already over, darling.
Question
so we're running
4.
On.
We've spoken about the Vesper Martini, of course, on many an occasion. And in Casino Royale, James Bond goes to the bar with Vesper, who he really likes, and very specifically makes up his drink with gin, vodka, and Lillet Blanc. In the movie Casino Royale, Vesper turns to James and says, "Is it because of the bitter aftertaste that you've named this cocktail after me?" And what does he reply? Does he say, "It's because you're as good as a complex gin"? Does he say, "It's because once you've tasted it, you won't drink anything else"? Or does he say, "Because you're so beautiful, I need a strong drink to think straight"? James and Vesper, what is his reason to Vesper for naming the drink after her?
Well, that's a good question. Now, the next question is quite interesting as well, because Martini is obviously what he always goes for. He's got shaken, not stirred, and all that malarkey. But he fits in when he has to. So in You Only Live Twice, which was Sean Connery, he drinks.
You only live twice.
There's no stop in there. There's no stop.
There's no stop in it, no.
No. So he actually accepts a drink of sake. Now, I know nothing of sake. It's not something that does for me, but James does, thank the Lord. We want to know, what temperature does he say it should be served at? Now, we're going to go back a bit and we're going to serve it in Fahrenheit. So it might be a guess, everyone, because we normally use degrees C, but that's okay. We're going to go Fahrenheit. Just have a guess. Does he say that it should be served at 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit? Does he say it should be served at 32.6, or is that a minus? I'm not sure. Degrees Fahrenheit, or should it be at 0 degrees Fahrenheit? Which one should it be? We'll take your answer roughly. We'll take it in centigrade. We'll take it in Fahrenheit. Whatever you want to do, we will take it. But James Bond, there he is, the lovely Tam there, he likes a sake.
He'll only take it at one temperature, because he knows.
I wonder what you were going to say then, to be honest.
You see, you're just mucky. You're the Martini slut, not me. He's very urbane, is James Bond. He knows where in the vineyard the vintage came from. He knows where the whiskey was made. He's your man. Right then, question 6.
There's loads of answers. Sorry, Joe. There's tons of answers coming in here. I'm blown away by all these Fahrenheits and centigrades. Get it? You carry on, darling. I think this is the last question. Go on, my love.
Yeah, and of course, John Conroy's just like James Bond. He's urbane and knows everything.
Of course he does.
Question 6. A famous vodka company actually sponsored the very first James Bond movie, which was Dr. No. Now, as we know, James Bond likes a gin martini, but they weren't about to let him have one because they were a vodka company. Which company sponsored Dr. No? If you've seen it, I'm not kidding you. The product placement is amazing. Was it Absolute? Was it Smirnoff? Or was it Grey Goose?
Are you actually having a laugh? Is it better than my product placement?
No, not better at all. Yours has been on screen the whole time. His only comes on like this, or is behind him in his cabin, or at the bar, or in his hand. But yours has been there the whole time.
It has. All right, people, let's go back to the top. I know we're over, darlings. If you can stay with us, fabulous. If you need to leave us, we'll see you soon. But I know, we just witter on. That's the problem. Right back to the front. It was India. They might have given us the Kama Sutra, and Joe's tried every single position in there.
I beg your pardon. But I didn't try number 32. That looked a bit awkward.
Oh, was it your hip, darling, that gave out?
Yeah. The old lady hip. It was
the old lady hip. That was it. But the people in India, the authorities in India just said it was a bit too much for them. So if you'd have watched Spectre in Mumbai, you'd have missed out on him snogging. Now, I'm not good on pronunciation, as everybody knows. He snogged Monica Bellucci. Oh, I went up on my toes and everything there. Oh, and Leah Seydoux.
Good down for Leah Seydoux.
Good, next to you, my love.
Okie dokie. And it is obviously Tattinger. Yeah, we're both going to go. We're going to get our tat out look. Oh, I've got my tat out. Emma, got my tat out look.
She's got her tat out.
Lansdorne Tattinger.
Tattinger. The best product placement in the world.
Yes,
the best
indeed.
champagne, the finest champagne.
It is the finest champagne, and one of the very few champagne houses that's still owned by the family. In fact, they've not long planted vines in the UK, so let's see how they get on with that. Hopefully well. I don't know if you've ever tried Niatin, but it's gorgeous. That's from down south. I love Niatin, but it's beautiful. So hopefully have the same. We'll have the same success. You won't find it in many films. It was in. I don't know which one it was in. Emma found it. I didn't even know it was been in a film. But it's been in lots of the books. It was in Casino Royale, Moonraker, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and Goldfinger. Oh no, I do know. I recognise her from Russia with Love.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, he actually got a drop of the good stuff in from Russia with Love.
He did. And anybody that knows us knows it is our champagne of choice. It comes with us wherever we go. We are the Tattinger girls, or Tattinger girls. And it goes really, really well with fish and chips as well. Just a little tasting tip for you there.
That's because it cuts through the fat of the fish and the chips.
That's true.
We love it.
And it's yummy. That's the real reason. Right, okay, number 3. James, he has a little drinky every 10 minutes and 53 seconds, the dirty dog. Daniel Craig and his trunklets, is the biggest boozer in Casino Royale. Poor old Timothy Dalton, the waiter on the end there, he just looks like the waiter. He has the most sober job. He only got to drink 1 drink in License to Kill. That's shocking, everyone.
Shocking.
So, the good news is we much prefer Daniel, and he gets to drink loads.
Tony and Jenny Roper, you're very naughty.
What did they say? I haven't got my specs on, I can't see.
They say I've got my tats out.
Got your tassels out.
Right then, Vesper, James Bond. We know he would have stayed with Vesper. He gave up. He resigned. He actually resigned from MI6 and said, from Her Majesty's Secret Service, and said, "I want to be with you. Take what's left of me." It all ended badly, but he loved her. We think he would have stayed with her if he could have. But anyway, he said to her, "Because once you have tasted it, you won't drink anything else." Oh, there we go.
No,
so that was the answer
really
to that one.
Oh, poor old Vesper.
Poor old Vesper. It wasn't her fault. She had to double cross him.
Of course she did. Right. Here we have the Saki question. Now, the Saki, I'm going to give you the answer in both degrees C and in Fahrenheit. Of course, it is 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That is body temperature, roughly. And I think it's about 36 if you're going to do degrees C. So we will, look, I sound like I'm vaguely scientific. I'm not remotely scientific. I think body temperature will roughly do it. Now, the reason that is because, the rice crops. Now, I'm not a sake drinker. I know nothing of sake, but the rice crops were poor after World War II, and the quality of the sake, therefore, was poor as well. So what they said was they had to add more alcohol to make the drink taste okay, and it needed to be served warmer to make it more palatable. Now, I understand that sake crops, of which I know nothing, are better. The rice is better. It is better these days, so you don't have to serve it quite so warm. And I think there are loads of different types of
different flavors, different types. Serve it at different temperatures.
You know what? I think I'll stick to this Martinez because this is actually yummy, and I've nearly finished. It's yummy. I'm not going with the sake, but there you go. Over to you, my darling.
Question 6. The answer was Smirnoff. If you've watched the film, you can't see anything but Smirnoff. It's Smirnoff Central. Right now, I know we are talking about vodka here, but I'm not being funny. We're York Gin. We don't care about vodka. No, good luck to them, but frankly, drink gin. And I would not like a week to go by without giving Susanna the opportunity of drinking a Negroni, because as we all know, she does love a Negroni. So I'm going to give her the chance, because in a short story called Risico by Ian Fleming, which is part of a series called For Your Eyes Only, he manages to get a very nice Negroni on in the story, so that's fine. So we're going to make that our excuse for Susanna making a Negroni. I've already made mine. As you know, I'm a Blue Peter merchant.
I've already started.
I do it in advance because that's the way I roll.
Well, so as everyone knows, a Negroni is my absolute favourite. I can make one in my sleep, to be honest. We're going to use London Dry.
She does.
Equal measures.
I've shared a room with her before now. She does make them in a bloody sleep.
Equal measures, London Dry. Martini Rosso, sweet vermouth, in it goes.
And I still maintain the best Negroni I ever had was with Deb Conroy in Sicily, looking out over that sea in a ridiculously expensive hotel with the best Negroni in the world. And that's mine.
That's a double measure of Martini going in there now. The good news is, whatever I don't drink, my husband, who is actually the best dad in the world, will have later.
No, he's going to get a tie.
We'll fight for it.
That's what all dads are getting. Just saying.
I'll leave that in there for him later. There is my Negroni. I've got a wonderful slice of orange, obviously, to go to it. That is the drink of the gods.
Oh,
cheers.
Why is mine so much smaller than yours? You must have used triple measures for everything.
I only ever use double measures, Joe, for anything.
Well, you can have one of those T-shirts as well if you like.
Exactly.
Did you know?
Right here.
Apropos of absolutely nothing, I was watching when I was writing the minutes up for the theatre today, and the telly was on in the background. Did you know Cary Grant was actually offered the very first role of James Bond?
I didn't know that. That's a top fact.
But he was turned it down, and Sean Connery got it and said, Cary Grant. Cary Grant didn't want to be involved in a series. He said it had done a one-off, but they said no, it's going to be a series, and he said no, it's not for me.
Foolish.
Yeah.
Foolish man. Right, okay, quick bonus question. I know we're super over. Thank you very, very much for staying with us, people. We're eternally grateful. Oh, God, that is so nice. Right.
Deb Conway, we wish you were here too.
Obviously wish we were here. The bonus question, go back to Father's Day. That's where we started. How many days since the very first Father's Day, which is we're going to count to today. Now, I'm not going to tell you when it was, but all I will tell you is that it was the 19th of June, quite a few years ago. So it's actually today. Oh, I will tell you. It's 110 years anniversary. If you're very quick on your calculator, you will work that out. How many days? I can see cats and husbands coming at all angles because we're so over. But you will get this, and we will tell you. We'll give you at least 500 either way or something.
Susanna, I've got to tell you. There's a ticker on here from Philip the Gymnasium. He says there's actually a Negroni Club UK with Zoom meetings. I'm not being funny, but
is that Philip?
Where have we been all their lives?
Is his name Philip? Philip, will you sign me up? I want to be a member. Philip, sign me up. I need to be a member of this club. Just slide into my DMs and we will sign up together. Oh God, that sounded right. That sounded terrible. I want to be a member of that club. Right, okay. Jojo, have you got our spot prize winner for tonight?
I have. Hold on, let me check in with headquarters. Whoop. It is Lucy Earnshaw.
Lucy Earnshaw, awesome. Right, guys, keep thinking about that. I'm going to give you. I think I might have lost the plot a bit, but I'm going back. So the answer is he hasn't told me.
Did I not drink that one?
It has told me. I don't know what happened. It's 40,178 days, exactly 110 years to the day. It is Father's Day. Well, it's not today. It's going to be on Sunday. But since the very, very first Father's Day, back in the good old US of A, that is the very first thing. There you go. If you got anywhere near that, if you got within 5,000, we're going to give it to you. It doesn't really matter. We don't care. Guys, we've run massively over.
We have.
You've had fun.
We have. But I have to tell you my last fact.
Go on.
I forgot to tell you. You know when you were talking about Darth Vader?
Yeah.
The voice of Mufasa, James Earl Jones, he's actually the voice of Darth Vader too. Yay! We like a circular thing.
We love a circular thing. I love that. James,
I love that.
We support you. We
better
double
go
you.
now, haven't we?
We had better go. Lovelies, next week there's a massive treat in store, but for your 10% discount code, of course it's going to be Martini. Get on to www.yorkgin.com for your 10% discount this week. Keep your eye on our York Gin Facebook page because next week we have a massive, massive treat for you. We have a visiting guest coming back.
We do.
We are so I'm bouncing. We are super excited about this.
I'm so excited and I just can't hide it.
But all that leaves for us to be said, and we're massively over, but thank you for staying with us. We massively appreciate it. We're going to say goodnight. Love you lots. Love you lots. Thanks, Joe.